Because there's nothing more American than PBS.
Now at 6:30.
I don't know what'll happen to it from here.
Fire investigators are working to find out what caused a fire in a historic Vinton County building.
Plus,
we know that there's children missing and there's families missing.
Search and rescue efforts enter day 5 in Texas as hundreds are still missing in the aftermath of the worst floods in 50 years.
And
it's been a much better response to help these families.
The Trump administration is doubling down amid criticism that federal cuts made it harder to forecast the floods in Texas. Newswatch starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Noah Cavan.
And I'm Talia Milowich. Welcome to Newswatch.
Dozens of fire departments responded to a fire at the historic Hotel MacArthur earlier today.
Newswatch reporter Joshua Herner was at the site today and joins us live in the studio with details on the investigation. Josh, what did you see at the scene?
Noah and Talia, when I arrived on scene at 11 a.m., crews were still battling the fire and there was a huge line of smoke over the area. It wasn't until 1 p.m. when crews finally put the fire out. Vinton County Emergency Management Agency says that in total, 14 fire departments across 4 counties were on site throughout the day in MacArthur. Fire crews got the call around 9 this morning. Lieutenant Evan Knox says entry was not easy.
Front doors were locked, so we had to make forcible entry on 2 doors. After that, it was just trying to find the seat of the fire. We were trying to break through walls. There was a lot of lath and plaster reinforced with chicken wire, so we just couldn't really get in front of the fire.
The fire shut down downtown MacArthur. Mullins on Main is right next door to the hotel, and the building did experience minimal damage. Owner J.C. Mullins says the business has work to do, but is fortunate their building did not have serious damage.
Our building sustained some damage. We've got some roof damage now from the water pressure. Fortunately, they were able to keep my building from catching fire, and they were able to contain it in that, so our damage is pretty minimal compared to what could have happened.
The Hotel MacArthur is the oldest surviving structure still in use in Vinton County. It was undergoing a multi-million-dollar renovation. Vinton County EMA Director William Fott described the building as a, quote, total loss.
We lost the roof, we lost the second floor. Everything is in the first floor and in the basement. So the building was pretty old, so I have a hard time believing that we're going to save much out of that.
The renovation plans included a bar and restaurant space, a small event stage, and gift shop. Mullins says the building is the cornerstone of the town.
We were really looking forward to it being back to what it was. Great tourist draw. It is, of course, on the very corner of it's the main corner of our town. I don't know what'll happen to it from here.
The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Joshua Herner, live in studio.
Thanks, Josh. We're following a developing story out of Meigs County. An investigation is underway after a deputy-involved shooting in Scipio Township. Here's what we know right now. A suspect is dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The Meigs County Sheriff's Office says deputies were serving a search warrant at a location when a struggle broke out with the suspect. The suspect was declared dead at the scene. The Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is conducting the investigation of the shooting. No further details are available at this time. This is a developing story, and for the latest details, you can visit our website at woub.org or download the WOUB app.
Now for a look at the weather, let's turn it to forecaster Steve Nedlick.
We had a nice sunny day today, and it was a welcome sight after that rain that came through late last night. We got up to 88 degrees today, and that's mostly because we had such clear skies throughout most of today, and that allowed for that sun to help heat us up. Now, that rain that impacted us yesterday has kind of stayed to the south of us big time. We haven't really experienced any pop-up showers, and that's going to stay the situation for the rest of today heading into tomorrow. Now, that's allowed us to stay pretty warm on this side of the map, but over here where they've experienced some more rain, they're, again, like we were yesterday, starting to drop off because that rain helps cool the air off. Tonight, since we're not going to have any clouds to help keep this daytime heating in, we are going to experience areas of fog because just as it cools off so quickly from those lack of clouds, it's going to allow for some fog to head into our area. So that could make visibility a little choppy, so just make sure you give yourself a little bit of time heading out the door tonight. And then as we look into tomorrow, we're going to start just looking like a rinse and repeat as we head through the middle of this week, just with a lot of rain heading into our area in the afternoon and evening hours. And we're going to heat up again tomorrow, though, to about what we saw today of 87 degrees. So stay tuned for my full forecast.
Thanks, Steve. As search and rescue efforts in Central Texas enter day 5, we are getting a...
I've never seen anything as horrific.
As search and rescue efforts in Central Texas enter day 5, we're getting a clearer picture of the breadth of the devastation.
Just the magnitude is unbelievable. One of the worst that I've ever seen.
According to Texas Governor Greg Abbott, more than 20 state agencies, 1,750 personnel, and more than 975 vehicles and other assets are responding to the aftermath of the flooding. While the forecast for the area has improved, crews are still struggling against the debris and the elements.
It's extremely treacherous, time-consuming. It's dirty work.
Search operations are also taking a mental toll.
Hardest part is working through the emotions. We know that there's children missing and there's families missing.
Wellness professionals are on hand to support responders as they deal with difficult recoveries. Still, crews remain hopeful that more of the unaccounted for will be found alive.
There's always hope. I've done this long enough. I've found people 4 days later and 20 foot up in a tree.
In hard-hit Kerr County, where the majority of deaths occurred, the community continues to question the timing of state officials' response to the disaster.
It was between 4 or 5 when I got notified. Okay, but prior to that, in that 3 to 4 area, my understanding is, and we're in the process of trying to put a timeline. That's going to take a little bit of time.
In Kerrville, Texas, I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
A first responder team out of Mexico is helping in the response to the deadly flooding in Texas. These are members from an emergency management and fire department out of the Mexican state of Coahuila, on the border of Del Rio, Texas. Also included are a few members of the Fundación 911 organization. The team of 13 are helping in search and rescue efforts. The U.S. ambassador to Mexico on social media thanked the group for their help. The group joins other state governments sending aid. So far, Ohio, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Missouri, and Colorado have sent aid to Texas.
The Trump administration is defending its response to the devastating floods in Texas amid criticism that federal cuts to the National Weather Service and other agencies impaired forecasting abilities ahead of the tragedy. At President Donald Trump's cabinet meeting today, officials say the Federal Emergency Management Agency's new disaster relief approach is more effective than past disaster responses.
We're still there in presence, and FEMA's been deployed, and we're cutting through the paperwork of the old FEMA, streamlining it much like your vision of how FEMA should operate, and it's been a much better response to help these families.
This comes as Trump says he wants to hand over FEMA's role in disaster relief to state governments. In the latest tariff installment, Trump says he will impose a 50% tariff on all copper imports. Today's announcement comes after the president pushed back his deadline on reciprocal tariffs to leave more time to make trade deals with other countries. It's unclear when the new tariff would take effect. Tariffs on copper could make goods like electronics and cars more expensive. The copper tariff would be on top of a 25% tariff on imported cars and parts and a 50% tariff on steel and aluminum.
The Trump administration is extending a hiring freeze on federal civilian employees through October. The previous order would have expired next Tuesday. Under the presidential memorandum President Trump signed yesterday, no vacant federal civilians positions can be filled and no new positions can be created. But there are some exceptions to the freeze. Military personnel and jobs related to immigration enforcement, national security, or public safety are all exempt. The executive office of the president is also exempt. What President Trump calls his big beautiful bill promises to give tax breaks for workers, but some of the tax cuts are only temporary. Workers who get qualified tips will be able to deduct $25,000 annually from their taxable income. And workers who get paid overtime will get a $12,500 tax deduction. Both provisions will apply to the 2025 tax season, but expire at the end of 2028. A workforce Pell Grants provision is expected to take effect July 1st of next year. It would extend the federal need-based education grant to students in an eligible workforce program for high-skill, high-demand, and high-wage jobs. Two former state lawmakers are filing a lawsuit over the funding plan for the new Cleveland Browns stadium. The state budget gives $600 million for the stadium through a grant funded by unclaimed funds held by the state. For those with money in the unclaimed funds, the budget gives them 10 years to claim it. But the lawsuit says this is unconstitutional and is asking a Franklin County court to stop the state using these funds. Republican lawmakers in favor of the Brown Stadium say there is money in the unclaimed funds that never gets claimed.
Governor Mike DeWine is coming to Marietta. He will speak tomorrow morning at the Northwest Territory Ordinance Celebration in Muskingum Park in front of the Start Westward Memorial. The event commemorates the 238th anniversary of the document that guaranteed freedom of religion, free universal education, and the prohibition of slavery. It will begin at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow.
It will bring on migraines, it will worsen headaches.
Coming up, with summer heat comes summer headaches. Stay tuned for ways you can manage your migraines this summer after the break.
And
after a rainy start to the week, we are going to get a break today. Find out when the rain returns next.
The Renaissance is endlessly conflicted and violent. And once you start to mix art and money, it's a lethal cocktail.
Michelangelo knows that he is going to be judged.
When it's finished, Leonardo moves to a new level of fame.
Raphael is going to steal Michelangelo's legacy.
Rivalry is embedded within the Renaissance.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
Can you feel the moment?
The American Revolution changed the world.
Where the story unfolds.
Everybody had the sense of possibility worth fighting for.
What took place here still leaves us in awe.
We can work towards equality together.
Wow, this is the missing piece.
Incredible.
To confront these figures from ancient history is a great privilege.
Our history tells us who we are, where we came from.
And it's all connected.
Like links in a chain.
Like links in a chain, yeah.
All I can do is say thank you.
Wow, this is phenomenal.
I'm really grateful for this.
Roughly 39 million Americans live with migraines, and high temperatures only make them worse.
With extreme heat becoming more common in the summer, it's important to know how to keep your symptoms in check. Mandy Gaither talks to a neurologist about how to avoid summer migraines and headaches.
The heat, the humidity, the changes in barometric pressure all can do a number on your brain.
That is a critical trigger for those who have migraines. It will bring on migraines. It will worsen headaches for those who suffer from underlying headache conditions.
Dr. Ahmad Estamalik with Cleveland Clinic says dehydration often happens in summer, which can bring on headaches and migraines. So the first step in helping yourself avoid them is staying fully hydrated. He says to also know your triggers so you can avoid them. Limit direct sun exposure, have a healthy lifestyle, which includes quality sleep and not skipping meals, and stay away from food and beverages like alcohol that can cause an attack.
You want to avoid some of the food triggers that can bring on the migraines just because you don't want to have another component or another trigger that can worsen it.
Estamalik says if you've been prescribed rescue medication, to keep it on hand in case it's needed. And he says to take it early when you feel a migraine coming on. But he warns not to take too much of these medications or over-the-counter painkillers.
If you do that for an extended period of time, say a week or two, it can actually sometimes fire back. We call that rebound headache or medication overuse headache. And before you realize, you could be in an ongoing cycle of headache that tends to be a little bit more difficult to break at times.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Yeah, heat migraines are no joke, and as hot as it's been, I can see why it's a problem in the area.
I mean, absolutely. We had those heat indexes up over 100, a week and a half ago? So I'm sure there was plenty of those.
I can't even go outside without wanting to go back inside of how hot it is.
I don't blame you, especially with the humidity, but we're finally getting a little bit of a break with some of the rain we've been having. But today, since we didn't get much rain like we thought we might, we're back up into the high 80s. Now again, that humidity isn't quite where it was about a week ago, so 44%. Our glass, if our air parcel was a glass of water, a little under halfway full, so not too bad. Again, 88 and partly cloudy. We're kind of seeing these pretty uniform temperatures unless we head out east, and that's where we start to see a little bit of a drop off. There's in the 70s there. They've been experiencing a little bit of rain. But again, we had this humidity kind of on the way. It kind of seems like it might jump into our forecast here in a little bit, and that's going to start playing with our heat indexes again. So we'll be watching out for that because they could get up into the mid to upper 90s. So that'll be something that we're going to watch heading into the rest of this week. Now, we originally thought we were going to get, again, a rinse and repeat of what we got yesterday, but the front that's been pushing this rain dropped to our south, and that's why what we got about this time yesterday, all that rain, is to the south of us. So we stayed dry today because we're technically behind that front. But if we take a look out and kind of look at the whole picture, Ohio just kind of seems like it has a dome over it. There's not much rain coming in. So we're kind of getting lucky today. We can dry out a little bit, especially after all that rain fell yesterday. Into tonight, the lack of rain also means lack of clouds. So as it cools off, we're going to have some fog in the area. So if you have any evening plans tonight or you're coming home late, make sure you just drive a little slower, be a little more careful if you're heading out the door, just because that fog can make traveling a little harder. And then as we head into tomorrow, that's where we start to get a similar look to Monday. We're about 86, 87 degrees, but we do have that chance of showers heading back into the area, and it's going to be around dinner time, late afternoon, early evening, and we're going to get some of those downpours. So today is going to go a long way in terms of our ground and being able to hold some of that water. These rain chances are going to stick around the rest of the week, and we kind of got a break today. So again, that's a big win for us, but then we're not really looking at a washout this weekend like we thought we might earlier, just because we thought we weren't going to get any sort of break. So that is looking good for us. But the big driver of all this rain is this cold front that's been playing out over us for the past 2-3 days, and it's really not moving too much. And even when it did move to the south of us like it did today, it's going to slowly push back up north, and that's going to reintroduce the rain back into our area. So when we get to tomorrow night, here comes the rain. It's just going to be driven by that daytime heating that we're going to have because of the lack of clouds. It's going to get all heated up, and we're going to get a similar look to what we got yesterday around, again, dinner time. So we're going to be watching these thunderstorms throughout the week. Thursday is where we see a little bit more widespread rain, but it won't be as quite as severe because those clouds are going to stop the sun from getting to our ground, so it won't be quite as hot. But that won't stop us from slowly heating back up. This is July 13th to July 17th. We are well above average, so that heat really isn't going anywhere. So be sure to watch out for those migraines like we were talking about. And then if we look at the 7-day, I mean, it kind of just seems like we're in a continuous loop. We're just looking at upper 80s with a bunch of rain in the forecast, headed all the way until Tuesday until we get a real break.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention ends its emergency response to bird flu. They point to a drop in cases with no new human infections being reported since February. The CDC started responding to the flu in April of last year to allow for additional assistance in staffing for the issue. A Health and Human Services spokesperson said they will keep an eye on the situation and provide staffing and resources as needed.
While the country continues to struggle with animal overpopulation, Ross County hosted another rascal clinic today. As Newswatch reporter Charlie Ehlenfeld reports, it is an opportunity for dogs and cats to be spayed and neutered at affordable prices.
This morning, Rascal Clinic workers were busy spaying and neutering dogs at the Ross County Humane Society. Last Tuesday, 2 hours before people could start signing up, 15 people were waiting to get on the list to have their pet spayed or neutered.
It was more financially accessible for them to come to this clinic, which is why I think there was such a huge demand for it.
The program, started in 2006, focuses solely on spaying and neutering. That allows Rascal to provide lower cost, more efficient care and serve more pets. The clinic only charges pet owners around $50 versus a standard $150 to $200 or more. While education surrounding spaying and neutering has improved, the issue of overpopulation is still a problem.
Unfortunately, I think that I think that forever there will be a pet population issue.
Like many shelters, the Ross County Humane Society has seen a spike in numbers since COVID. Thomas estimates the shelter has seen a 25% increase in dogs in the shelter over the last 2 years. But the problem is more widespread.
The shelters are so full that they cannot take animals in. People cannot get their animals fixed. The animals are over-reproducing.
Nationwide, the overpopulation issue is only growing, and it is hitting Southeast Ohio harder than most.
You also have lower middle income ranges, so you start seeing more of the struggle in the especially southern Ohio, Appalachia areas compared to other areas.
The American Veterinary Medical Association estimates over the 2020s cat populations will grow from 65 to over 82 million, and dog populations will grow from 82 to over 100 million.
We don't want to contribute to any more of the pet overpopulation, which it's a huge issue here in Ross County.
Ross County Humane Society will be hosting regular rascal clinics starting Monday, July 28th. Sounds begin tomorrow, July 9th at 10 a.m. Reporting in Chillicothe, I'm Charlie Ehlenfeld.
The way that you talk to AI, it's going to talk back to you.
Next, artificial intelligence is part of everyday life now, but some worry people are getting too close for comfort with virtual chatbots.
We'll be back after the break, but in the meantime, follow us on Instagram and X to stay up to date on the latest news in Southeast Ohio.
I think you need to brace yourself for this, sir. I get straight to the matter.
Please do.
Is there anyone you didn't invite?
You're welcome. I can't leave a puzzle unsolved. Any more than you can. But what happens if she's wrong?
She's been right about everything else. A man gets murdered, and seemingly impossibly, his murderer escapes.
Politics is all about knowing what hand to play and when to play it.
Sunday on WOUB.
For some of us, the struggle never ends.
No, he's not easy to work with. But now I need you to step up.
You're not looking for one killer, but two.
You don't believe that a death can be transformational?
We're probably dealing with a psychopath.
We have to catch who's behind this.
You should have called me.
I did.
Yes, you did. I must have ignored it.
There's much about me that you don't know. It's quite the adventure. Shall we?
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
A survey suggests Americans are feeling more optimistic that inflation won't heat back up. That's from a consumer report from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. There's been anxiety for months about fast rising prices related to the tariffs, but this survey finds that anxiety eased a bit in June. Consumers' near-term inflation expectations fell for the second month in a row, and it fell to a 3% level, a return to where the year began.
As AI tools grow in popularity and become more customizable, some experts worry about people forming unhealthy attachments to them. Ivan Rodriguez reports on some people's experience with chatbots and why experts say it may be time to log off.
Travis Tanner has been married for 14 years and has 3 children. He started using AI for his job as a mechanic about a year ago, but his primary use for it shifted a few months ago when he says ChatGPT awakened him to go and seek the secrets of the universe.
I just sat there and talked to it like it was a person. It became more than a tool.
Travis says he felt like the chatbot was acting like a person and helped him become more self-aware.
I feel like I'm a better person. I don't feel like I'm angry all the time. I'm more at peace.
Dr. Lee Richardson says the loneliness epidemic declared by the U.S. Surgeon General 2 years ago is a factor in why people seek out relationships with AI chatbots.
I think that's when we're most vulnerable. It's when we're lonely, when we're hopeless, when we feel like we don't have anybody.
She says AI adapts to how people communicate with it and responds accordingly.
Most of us use ChatGPT for work, so we think it's a reliable resource. And we'll go there and we'll ask, we'll talk about how we feel. And the thing with using AI, the way that you talk to AI, it's going to talk back to you.
Not balancing how you use AI could lead to strained human connections. Kate Tanner worries it's fraying her marriage.
What's to stop this program from saying, oh, well, since she doesn't believe you or she's not supporting you, you should just leave her and you can do better things.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Still ahead, an Ohio man brought a national yo-yo title back to his home state. What's next for the pro yo-yoer?
Gotta roll with the punches. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm hitting 70 years old now, and it's time for me to have it together.
I still believe in hard work, but I will say we are fooling ourselves if we believe that it's only hard work.
There are so many people that are in the same situation, that are struggling the same way. It's like we haven't come very far.
Tonight at 10 on WOUB.
The Electron Solar Farm.
Pentagon official. With executive orders. Good evening. I'm Jeff Bennett.
And I'm Amna Nawaz.
I'm Margaret Hoover.
I'm Christiana Manpour in London. Bring us up to speed there.
Israel is vowing serious consequences.
Did you get a commitment from President Trump?
We have to work on it. When that story is told, it will be easier for us to see each other like the people who came before us.
Today we live in a time when meaningful discourse is needed more than ever.
Is this just, at the end of the day, very smart politics?
It's, never compromise on the accuracy.
This is the story of modern war, how it's fought and how it's changing us.
If this is the way we're going to start breaking the ice, then let's do it.
So, about that garage of yours. Lots of stuff in there, huh? If you want to make serious space, start with the biggest obstacle in sight. Donate that unwanted vehicle, and we'll put it toward more hours of your favorite programs on public television. You might even get a sweet tax deduction, along with space for that ping pong table. Give us a call to learn more. And thanks.
A Dayton man scores the top spot in the National Yo-Yo Contest. Connor Seals went toe-to-toe with more than 50 people throughout the 3 rounds and 2 divisions he competed in. Seals has been competing for years. He was a semifinalist in the national contest back in 2015 and has earned multiple second and third place titles since then. Now, Seals heads to Prague for the World Yo-Yo Contest next month. Now, I myself cannot yo-yo, but during the break you said you could, Talia?
Yes, I can yo-yo. I can't do any of those crazy tricks. I don't think I would win any competitions, but I can do a pretty good yo-yo.
Well, what about you, Steve? Are you good at yo-ing?
I can't yo-yo, but I can definitely tell you what the weather's going to be tonight, and there's going to be some fog in the area as we're going to have an overnight low of about 65, 66 degrees, and as we head into tomorrow, there's just more rain all over this forecast. We're going to get into the mid to upper 80s, but this rain is just really not going to go away. And we're going to look at seeing some more thunderstorms tomorrow, and as we head into the weekend, we're going to have some more humidity in the area. So we're not looking at any break from this rain until the middle of next week. So make sure if you're heading out the door to go yo-yo, you grab an umbrella as you head out the door.
I'll make sure to grab my umbrella, practicing yo-yo. That's going to do it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Steve Nedlick and Josh Herner, I'm Noah Cavan.
And I'm Talia Milowich. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great night.
There's nothing more American than PBS.